still remember this moment. 13,000 feet high. Imagine cold air gushing on the face. One step outside the plane, one step inside the plane. Mind screaming at me, don't jump. And that very feeble inner voice whispering, go. That's how I describe edge of certainty, and when I heard the subject, that's exactly what came to my mind. That a very thin line between what is and what could be, between holding on and discovering what letting go is, and something fear, and beyond that is freedom. That's what I describe edge of certainty as. And that's not a random picture, by the way. That's me doing my skydiving course last year in Spain. Life has brought me to this edge of certainty time and again and again, not just at 13,000 feet, but also in classrooms, in offices, in even hospital corridors. So I come from a very small town in Karnataka. Most of my schooling, or probably the entire schooling, has been in state-run Kannada medium schools, government schools. So it all started for me in somewhere 10, 11 years of age when I was about 6th standard. I still remember that feeling because my school was about to shut down. The entire school had the strength of about 49-50 children. Most of the teachers had stopped coming to the school. The lessons, if it all happened, were repeat this line or copy this line 100 times. That tender, tiny, aged little girl feeling really stuck and not knowing what to do, that was my first edge of certainty. I really hope wish I could show you the picture of that school, but that school got de-recognized eventually and it doesn't exist anymore. But something inside me, that belief and that will to jump beyond the edge of certainty, made me surrender to curiosity and self-learning. I started reading everything that was in front of me, attempted every book, every piece of knowledge, whether I understood it or not. Who reads Upanishads and S.L. Bhairappa's novels at the age of 11, I don't know, but I did. And that led to, next I was in 7th standard, and that led to something remarkable at that age. I scored highest ever score recorded for a 7th board exam in that district. And a newspaper even came to interview me and asked me, what do you want to become when I grew up? I instantly said, I want to become an IAS officer. Not a visionary, just said it because I wanted to make my school better. That was my first learning after taking the leap beyond the edge of certainty. My next edge of certainty came when to the next school. Of course, I joined another government Kannada medium school. It was a familiar territory. I was good at studies. I was teacher's pet. I scored well. I was class topper. Things were going really well and everything was certain. I started meeting students from English medium schools, from other schools in the inter-school competitions, and looking at them speaking English so fluently and effortlessly again brought me to that edge. I could have been that safe, secure, admired girl in the school and just let it be. But something within me again told me that whatever dream you have told that you want to become a civil servant, maybe this is another bridge that you need to cross to achieve that dream. So English became my obsession. So much so that I started reading newspapers every day, binged on non-fiction, listened to news every day. And of course, not knowing that many years later, that would help me in my general studies for the civil services exam conducted by UPSC. Not knowing that, at that time, again something wonderful happened. I became an author of a science fiction novella, story, and got a foreword from none other than Professor Bhusnur Mutt, a very towering name in science literature, and it got published in the Indian Express as a series. It was like it's climbing Mount Everest for me. It gave me so much of confidence that I truly believe that I am capable of writing my own story. So that another lesson again of leaping from the edge of certainty, beyond edge of certainty. Things going well, studied well. I have been a studious student and came to engineering, did my engineering. I was in the final year of my engineering. Campus recruitment offers were there from the reputed IT companies, and mostly it was a certain path that I will take. I'll join IT sector, a high paying, lucrative, safe, secure job, comfort guaranteed. Around that time, I came across one of my favorite quotes from the book The Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. Do not let your fire go out, sparked by irreplaceable spark. The world you desire can be won. It exists, it is real, it is possible, and it is yours. That lit something within me. It reminded me what I had told way back in 7th standard. Here again, I was at the edge of certainty, packed my bags and took off to Delhi. I had no connections there, no mentorship, no friends, I didn't even know a single IAS officer till then whom I had spoken to. But I just went to Delhi, began the journey of civil services preparation and gave my exam. And as again another learning for having gone beyond the edge of certainty, I cleared UPSC in my very first attempt and became the civil servant in the year 2012, and maybe hence here I am today in front of you all. So this had made me something which, okay, what I dreamt I can achieve, and the confidence had come. Civil services, exam checked what I knew, how much I knew, but service started testing me who I am and what I can be. Very early on in my career, I got posted as Chief Executive Officer in Belgaum in Karnataka. In civil services gave me a lot of certainty. It's a very secure job, very well established hierarchy. There is a rule book for almost everything. So I really thought governance is about implementing these rule books. But the tough lesson I had to learn was through this test, because it's not about the system, it's about the people in it. So while I was posted in Belgaum as Chief Executive Officer of the urban local body, a road widening project got sanctioned. It was a long awaited project, got sanctioned under Smart City program, and just when we had to begin the work, we realized that in the alignment of the road, there is a small temple. Old, sacred, and extremely loved by the local people. Faith said something, law said another. Election time, emotions were running high. Any small misstep could have created the entire situation into communal. Certain path would have been, or the rule said, issue notices and implement the rule. Again, another edge that I was at. I did not choose that path. I started discussing. We sat down with the community elders, with the temple trust, with the elders in the civil society and the temple, devotees of the temple. And slowly, mistrust turned into trust, and within a few weeks, the entire community leaders and the temple trust board members voluntarily offered to relocate the entire temple to another place and allow the road widening. Of course, road got widened very peacefully and successfully, and temple got relocated with all pomp and glory. That day I learnt another lesson of my life, having crossed another bridge. That governance is not about just implementing rules, it's about earning trust. And that trust came in ways beyond I could imagine. When I left that station, when I finished my tenure, people of Belgaum gave me a farewell I can never forget. Let me show you what trust looks like.
ಇದೊಂದು ವಿಶಿಷ್ಟವಾದಂತಹ ದೃಶ್ಯಾವಳಿಗಳು ನೀವು ಗಮನಿಸಬಹುದು. ಬೆಳಗಾವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆದಿರುವಂತಹ ಘಟನೆ. ಜನ ಮೆಚ್ಚಿದ ಸಿಇಒ ಇವರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಬೀಳ್ಕೊಡುಗೆಯನ್ನ ನೀಡಲಾಯಿತು. ಜನರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಬೀಳ್ಕೊಡುಗೆ, ತೋರಿರುವಂತಹ ಪ್ರೀತಿಗೆ ಸ್ವತಃ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಯೇ ಭಾವುಕರಾಗ್ತಾರೆ. ತೆರೆದ ವಾಹನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರನ್ನ ಮೆರವಣಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತಹ ದೃಶ್ಯವನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. 3 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಕೆಲಸ ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಸಿಇಒ ಆಗಿ. ಅವರ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಮೆಚ್ಚಿ ಜನ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಬೀಳ್ಕೊಡುಗೆಯನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ದೆಹಲಿಯ ಪ್ರಧಾನಿ ಕಚೇರಿಗೆ ವರ್ಗಾವಣೆ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಬೆಳಗಾವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಸೇವೆ ಕೊನೆಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
So this was the lesson that was taught, and that's how I learned that it's about earning trust, and all this happened because of that leap beyond certainty. Subsequently, I got posted as General Manager for Bangalore Metro Rail Corporation. It's a mega infrastructure project, fast-paced, high stakes, almost always ruthless. I was General Manager for social and environmental issues. In the middle of all these steel, concrete and construction deadlines, the one question that really haunted me was that can development and environment can really go hand in hand? That's one question which was haunting me. Around the same time, the High Court orders that the construction has to stop because of the tree felling in Bangalore city. It felt like all of us were standing still while the entire city waited for this mass transit system to come up. The natural course would be offered to the forest department. But I did not want to do that. That was my next edge, where I thought what can be the best solution to this. So I proposed doing 1:10 compensatory afforestation ourselves. Metro itself would do in the city, within the city limits of Bangalore. A senior colleague called me delusional. Finding acres and acres of land, vacant government land, to plant 1 lakh plus trees in the middle of land crunch city like Bangalore. He was right, I was delusional, but I think sometime one has to be. So we coordinated with every landowning department, earmarked parcels of land where plantation can be done, and we did plant more than 1 lakh plus saplings, not saplings, trees. And not only that, we also translocated more than 6,000 fully grown trees all within the city of Bangalore, each one geotagged, each one nurtured, documented and publicly accountable. That, it was madness for sure when it began, but that commitment to environment sustainability led me to lead the delegation of all metro rails of India to the very prestigious United Nations Climate Change Conference, popularly known as Conference of Parties 28, held in Dubai for the negotiations of carbon credits. So things I have learnt is definitely from my profession, but after that, I was at another edge. This time it was not professional, but something deeply personal. My mother was diagnosed with cancer. Most of you know, especially from the field of medicine, there is absolutely no other way but to surrender to this disease. No amount of authority, power, connection, access to best healthcare facility or the doctor treatment, nothing really works. One has to just surrender, believe in faith, grace, time and treatment, and hope that it would do what I myself can't. That incident made me so much more humbler, being the primary caregiver for my mother and waiting in the hospital corridors. It made me change my entire perspective about the life itself and of course my work. I started thinking that maybe everything is about healing. Healing systems, healing mistrust, healing something which is in disorder. It's all about healing. And that, of course, she is doing really well now thanks to the wonderful doctors. But that personal edge had a huge impact on how I started looking at my professional life also. Around the same time, I had taken charge as Defence Estates Officer, heading the management of all defence land in the state of Karnataka, which is one of the largest defence land regions with one of the most complex, intricate land issues which are ongoing since several decades. Most of the cases are older than independence. So when I took charge, it's a very tricky, land matters are very, very tricky. Lot of court cases, lot of intricate matters. So most of my senior colleagues, well-wishers, cautioned me that be very cautious, it's a snake hole and stay still. It's a hornet's nest. Do not stir what is still for decades. It's not about winning cases in government. It is about not losing the case, especially in your tenure. Okay, that was the comfort path I could take. Don't have to do anything, just hold on for a while. 75 years, nothing had happened. 2 more years wouldn't hurt anyone, would it? All the learning through my life has taught me not to be that, not to be comfortable, not to seek comfort. So we went ahead again, collaborated with all the agencies, strengthened the relationship between civil and military authorities. Decades old matters started finding solutions, and the whole work has been appreciated by the Defence Secretary and the Minister. We could release compensation amount for all the land acquisition done for the Ministry of Defence, which has been waiting for 3 decades. All that has been done, and I learned that one lesson again, that growth actually happens beyond that certainty, beyond that comfort. Told you all my edges, all my stories of where I stood at the edge of certainty. But it is not mine alone. It is all yours, because I'm very, very sure each one of us would be brought into that edge where we have to choose between comfort and courage. And when you actually are at that, remember the 13,000 feet feeling I was talking about, and just take that leap, because the world you desire can be one, it exists, it is real, and it is possible as beyond that edge of certainty. Thank you so much.